A guy came out from behind the stairs. We have a cubby hole that's behind it, and he came out from there, and he attacked me and slammed my head into the wall.
For every tree limb, though, the city picks up and gets rid of, they say it's like $1 more that they're losing out of their already stretched budget.
Kim Scroggins actually got tons of volunteer help to move her trailer out of the way of the water, but with all of this, it just didn't make a difference.
I'm thinking if it was
Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
Break 19.
We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Highways bound up, watch our band and run.
The highways call. For many, it was hard to find the words to describe it.
Looks like something that was just total disaster, like in a movie or something. I couldn't believe it when I first seen it.
At 12:20 Monday afternoon, 101 Main Street, the home of a Merle Norman store, crumbled to the ground.
Part of it, the roof went down for maybe a foot, and then it just exploded, and glass and brick and smoke. It was horrible.
Witnesses tell us they saw a woman and her child on the sidewalk, immediately buried by debris.
You see where the ladder is?
Yep.
Okay, now I want you to go 3 feet this way.
Okay.
And it's like a stack.
Oh,
right
I see
there.
it.
That right there's the gap underneath.
Fell on them?
That was a frame.
With a crowd of others, Brian Matthews ran into the rubble to rescue the woman and her child.
She said that my baby is with me. My baby is with me. And once we got the beam from the side of her and we got her up onto the hard board that the paramedics bought, she said my baby is right by me.
The Morrilton chief of police did confirm a child died in that collapse. Staring at the pile of debris, Matthews said the child he saw in the rubble did not look good.
It could have been anybody. It could have been any of us.
Mike Crowell has lived in Morrilton for 56 years, all his life.
I know the people who own the buildings, and you know, it's just like family, being so close to everybody.
Like the others we spoke to, Crowell practically shook as he talked, keeping his eye on the destruction, but knowing this community could rise up once again.
These people will bounce back. I know they'll bounce back. They'll bounce back strong.
I mainly stuck to marijuana and hallucinogenics, but I've done cocaine. I've done a lot of pills.
Sounds like a lot, but that's not what landed 18-year-old Kylan Hotz in front of a judge. It was drinking. He faced Garland County Judge David Schweitzer for DWI charges, but this time would be different.
Just showing me that, you know, I can't, you know, do like some other people can. Like, I can't just have a beer or two. You know, I'm going to be the one, you know, drinking as much as I can get.
The DWI court helped Kylan realize this. Garland County has one of 3 DWI courts in the state, and since 2008 has seen over 2,500 people. When Kylan was 15, he was arrested for DUI. Judge Schweitzer noticed a trend of young as well as repeat offenders and decided they needed change.
The reason is to make a difference not only in the defendants' lives, but to make a difference in our lives, to make our community better.
This involves not just giving the accused jail time and a fine, but actually holding them accountable and making them complete rehab. This is the Kim Free House. It's a place where people like Kylan get to go to for a second chance. It's a part of their rehab program. It keeps them out of jail, and it saves the taxpayers money because they actually have to pay $100 a week in order to live here. Like anything, this doesn't work for everyone, but for some, it is a chance for them to clean up their act. Probation officer Christopher Carney says those that don't have this opportunity are facing a disadvantage.
Somebody who wants to make the change and doesn't have this opportunity, I feel sorry for them because they're going to get stuck in the system.
Kylan didn't get stuck in the system and is one of the many success stories. He's taken his second chance to do good by helping the homeless at Hot Springs Jackson House.
It gets you out of yourself, and that's what it was about. I've been in my head, you know, for 19 years. So about time, like, I thought about somebody else.
Kylan says the only way this works is if you want to make the change, and this is the structure needed to do that. In Hot Springs, Bakari Savage, KARK 4 News.
you already start sweating, you're already dehydrated.
Frequent water breaks are a must for these road crews on the interstate. Dressed in heavy boots and blue jeans, they say more clothing actually keeps them cooler.
It actually helps, the more your body you're covered, the less the sun hits it, So I see a lot of the guys wearing the long sleeve shirts.
Working with concrete like these guys are doing in this kind of heat is extremely difficult. In fact, some crews are actually adding ice to their concrete to give them more time to work with it before it sets, but not these crews. In fact, you can tell they're having to work very fast.
In a nearby West Little Rock neighborhood, a total home renovation is underway. The crew admits work slows for them in heat like this. Over the years, they've seen how dangerous it can be.
I had 3 people we had to take to the hospital. The heat gets to them. Once they quit sweating, then you got problems.
There's always pressure to keep construction projects on schedule, even in the dog days of summer. But safety takes priority.
I'd rather delay a project a day than hurt a guy, right? So we're always going to keep our guys safe and make sure they're taken care of.
Ah, the end of the school day.
Afternoon pickup is when we get the most insane.
The flow is usually the biggest concern.
For your spelling, I need details, guys.
After all this is how most parents would want their child to wrap up their day.
Had a good day at school?
The only problem is the woman who picked up little 8-year-old Cameron was unknown to staff at his school, driving a car that had never picked him up before and was never asked who she was.
You followed the procedure, you gave the name of the person who was going to be driving your son in the office, but the person out at the curb didn't know that name and didn't ask for it. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel like that there are some loopholes in the system. If somebody did want to try to take a child from school.
Boyd Mercer is one of 3 parents who love their kids' schools and agreed to help us test out what would happen in their respective pickup lines if an unfamiliar face showed up asking for their child. They've all taught their kids about safety.
What do they say?
Don't ride with a stranger, and don't even ride if they're going to pay you $100.
Lesson learned. So we let all the kids in on our plan so they wouldn't be afraid about what was happening. Cameron is a 2nd grader at Shannon Elementary. Campus administrators are all about security, making visitors to their West Little Rock building create photo IDs before heading down hallways.
So this is a hang tag, and we've got a machine that cuts them for us.
Okay.
And then we'll put the student's name on it first and last.
That's one of the measures Shannon Elementary is taking to match the right kid with the right car at pickup time. We were told that in a case like the one we created for Cameron, a car with no hang tag, one of the 4 adults working Shannon's pickup line would tell the driver to park.
And they will come into the office and get the student from us, especially if it's the first time that they've never done it before, because I want to see that ID to know who that person is. It has to match with the name that was given to me.
But nothing like that happened when our driver showed up.
Hi, Cameron Mercer.
Cameron Mercer, cone 2. Cameron Mercer, cone 2.
Hi, how you doing? Good.
That actually does surprise me. It does.
Okay. The only thing was just like, who are you here for? And then they hollered out the child's name.
Really? Wow. Yeah, that does. Yeah, because they should be checking.
We also sent a stand-in driver to L.L. Owen Elementary in Watson Chapel to pick up 8-year-old Caitlin. She was reunited with Mom a block away from school after a phone call I made several hours earlier.
I was calling to make sure that somebody could let Caitlin Lee know that she's going to be a car rider today. She's in Miss. She's Miss. Miss.
Caitlin Lee.
Caitlin Lee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
They didn't even ask who I was. They didn't ask if I was you. What do you think about that?
It is bad. They should at least say, are you a parent, or what is your name? What relationship are you? Or, I mean, they don't ask anything like that. They never have.
Caitlin? Caitlin Lee?
Caitlin Lee.
And no one asks who our driver is or seems to notice that Caitlin is hesitant to come forward because she doesn't recognize our truck.
Hi, I'm Sincere from Channel 4. How are you?
All things we asked the principal of the 2nd and 3rd grade campus about right after the pickup.
Would it surprise you if I were to tell you I called your school today and changed one of your students from
a bus rider to a car rider. Nobody even asked me who I was.
That would surprise me.
But that happened today.
We don't escort the children, you know, individually one by one into a car. We depend on the children to know who they're getting in the car with.
But we found a very different system at work at Conway's Julia Lee Moore Elementary.
Luke Caldwell Capiano.
Okay, I haven't met you. I'm Miss Dooley.
Hi, I'm Shannon. Nice to meet you.
Shannon, are you on the pickup list for Luke?
I'm a friend of his mother's. I don't know.
Okay, let me just check. Pull on up.
Okay.
Miss Dunn, this is Shannon. She's here to pick up Luke in first grade.
Well, she had wrote a letter this morning for his teacher.
She did. Can I see your ID? And you're
Yes,
good to
ma'am.
go.
You can.
Because it was in the office. I checked those before I
There
left.
you go.
So, Shannon Reed. Okay.
Thank you. How are you doing, Luke? All right.
A scenario.
How was school?
That tickled Mom, Tracy Caldwell.
I am super excited. I feel very confident now that my son is safe at school and that no stranger can come pick him up.
I just wouldn't be able to live with myself if something happened to one of our kids. They're our children. You have to be careful.
We still
With signs like this popping up in so many areas around the region, even still, volunteer help in many cases is literally the only thing that's helping to hold back the floodwaters and a flood of tears.
From the front window of Ms. Lena's famous Duval's Bluff Pie Shop,
looks like nothing's wrong.
Yeah. It seems like an ordinary Thursday, the kind that would find owner Vivian Barnhill busy in the kitchen. But a look out the back door shows what shattered her heart. Her daughter's home on the brink of ruin. Mother Nature's laid out a watery welcome mat made out of the White River.
It's like in just about an inch now, and as long as it doesn't rise anymore, I may be able to come back home.
Her biggest hope for that is for her kids, Jake and Grayson. They have no safety net if the water rises.
About 2 years ago, it was either feed my kids or pay my insurance, and I can't let my kids starve.
She's very grateful for the volunteers who tried to lift the tongue of her trailer out of all of this with a backhoe.
But it wouldn't budge.
At the levee downtown and at the free cafeteria set up for the flood-weary, volunteers are having better success. Some of the victories may seem small. A plate of food, a cold drink. But in the conditions here and across Prairie County, they're monumental to many.
When something like this happens in a community, everybody wants to come together and help.
The response from the volunteers has been excellent. Nobody's giving up. The stamina of people is just tremendous.
Something good to cling to when normalcy is being washed away.
It's just sad. It just breaks my heart.
The swollen White River isn't expected to shrink back down to its normal size for another 2 to 3 weeks. Reporting in Prairie County, Shannon Reed.mov, KRK 4 News.